Welcome back to another episode of What the Hell Do We Know? And unfortunately, my co-host Shane Daniels isn't able to be with us right now. He's taking a season of rest and a season of reflection, which is always a good thing to do. That's a little bit of what I've been doing over the last, 6 to 9 months that we've taken a break from this podcast. But just had an idea that I wanted to get back onto the podcast and have some special guests. So I have my great friend, Matt Rottman. Man, Matt, we've been friends for, 15 to 20 years. And hey, we may all be assholes in our own regard. Every time I call someone an asshole, I'm like, hey, I'm an asshole too. But Matt, you're a love master, man. You just if everyone can see your face right now, that'd be awesome. No, but you're a love master and you're a love master. We'll just talk about one of those love masters today. But there's this phrase that's been percolating in my mind of I want to love louder. I feel like I've spent most of the last 10 to 20 years of my life deeply inside of the evangelical Christian movement. And I just in my journey, this isn't everyone's journey, so I'm not labeling everyone this, but in my journey, this radical love of Jesus that gripped me when I decided to live like Christ, I just wasn't seeing it permeate throughout believers. And I know none of us are perfect, and I know, we all have our faults, and we're all, falling Jesus, and the Christian phrase is we all fall short of the cross, but there's got to be some bar, in my opinion. There's got to be some way, like the way we talk about people, the way we treat people, the things we say out loud to people, the stuff we post online. Like we've got to run it through some filter, Christ filter, love filter. But I want to love louder. And for any of my friends who can, accept a quote from Buddha without freaking out, I love this quote by Buddha. In the end, only three things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. And bam, I didn't realize this before we started, but there's our first three podcasts. So we're gonna start today with how much you loved. And here's the crazy thing, Matt, is I've sort of become more of a Christ follower and took an exit ramp out of evangelical Christianity. Still love who Jesus was, but want to live differently, want to love louder. As I've met some people sort of on the other side of the spectrum from evangelical Christianity, man, their beliefs are just as passionate. They judge just as strongly. They are just as much an asshole. They don't love just as much as we do. And I'm just not willing to accept that this is reality. I think there's a third way to live. There's got to be a third way to live. And hey, like I've said, what the hell do I know? And I'm an asshole too. But for the last 2 years, I've been like, listen, I can't stand you and I'm going to love you louder. Someone at my birthday party wore a, Make America Great Again, Trump 2020 hat. And it was after the election and it's my birthday party and they know how I feel. But I said, no, I'm going to rise above. I'm not going to say a single word. I'm going to let you wear your hat proudly and I'm going to love you, even though I feel like the actions of Donald Trump shows that he is a very disgusting man who does not deserve our support, especially if we're a believer in Christ. And again, I'm not judging him. I'm literally just saying, I thought a funny quote is, I don't really think you're a racist unless you speak. And it's like, I don't assume you are until you show me by your words and your actions and everything you do that maybe you might be. Anyways,
maybe you are.
Yeah. Let me toss pass the ball over to you. Loving louder, third way. I don't know. Love master. Go ahead.
Love master. Oh my gosh. Hi, I'm Matt Rottman. I'm an asshole. I don't know. I agree with you. I think there is a way for love to be louder. That quote from Buddha literally brought tears to my eyes because the beauty of love is astounding. And it's something that we all say that we want, but going after it requires sacrifice. And the sacrifice is unanimity. So everyone agreeing. And it's also this, it's totally, completely, for most of us, the opposite way of thinking. which is our initial way is, what can you do for me? How does our relationship benefit me? And what does it do in order to bring me further? Either, in this, in our society that we're in making money, in getting better friends, and being higher in power, in all of these things. And I think that one of the most remarkable things that happens when you choose to love is that there's an internal battle that happens, and it's this brutal fight, because what's inside you doesn't want to die. But the reality is, because you fed it, and it's this kind of aberration, this monster that, like, I want this, I want, when love itself says, I want to give, I want to see, I want to know, I want to know you more than I care about what I feel. And to be perfectly honest, it's the thing that I love the most pursuing. And it is literally the most challenging thing I have ever done in my entire life, because love is not simple. Love is not love. Oh, let's lay on a pillow and eat bonbons. Love is active, and love is aggressive, and love is a choice. It's almost like, and I've never been through addiction counseling, but it's almost like you have 1 second. In that second, you get the choice. Will I believe the best? My wife, oh my gosh, Brigitte, incredible human being. What she has taught me is that moment that says, in that moment, what are you going to believe? Will you believe the best about me when I'm not at my best? Will you believe the best? Because if I believe what you're doing is coming out of an open, genuine heart, then I'm going to believe the best about you. And I'm going to be able to move through the petty offenses, or even major offenses, because there are, especially, with the person you're spending your life with, there can be major offenses. And, will you believe the best in order to see through that offense? You address the offense, but it's not the offense that you're trying to get to. You're trying to.
Let me interrupt you there and say, I love finding broad strokes that apply to everybody. So something I'm pulling out of what you're saying, and I want to dive into this in a moment, because I want to say something else about you and thank you for something. But something that really has hit me with what you're saying is, whether you agree with someone or not, it could be someone as close to you as your spouse.
Yeah.
Or your best friend, who you guys feel like you agree on everything, and that's why you're best friends, down to the person you disagree with most, they're all going to offend you.
Yes.
They're all going to screw up.
Yeah.
They're all going to be human. Are we going to look through that, beyond that, into that, and pull out their humanity, pull out our common asshole, pull out all of that stuff, and see them as a person?
Yes. Not a villain, not a book, not a word, not a two-dimensional thing.
So I can say, and I remember thinking this before I had kids. I said to myself, I'm going to tell my kids I love them every day the way Matt Rottman tells his kids he loves them every day.
Oh.
And then you demonstrated that love. And you hug way too long, and I love it. Like, grown men shouldn't hug that long. Every moment of it. I'm like, it turns from a hug into a caressing. And I know it's slightly awkward, and we have some friends who probably don't love it, but they participate. But how great is it that, I'm the guy that's too loud, too energetic, too crazy, but you're the guy that hugs too long. Like, that's awesome. You're a love master. I'm not going to let this thing go, just so you know. But it also goes, then we did that small group where we met at your house and read that book and, watched some videos. And I really learned from you and your wife, like, hey, we've been to hell and back, and we loved each other. And that really prepped me for when my wife and I went to hell and back. And I said, I'm not going to let this get in the way of my love. And these are the good reminders. It's easy with kids. Like, it's easy for me to go, they're 5, they're 6, they're 8, and they're going to do this stuff. They're 18. And they're going to do this. If we get it, they're immature. They're going to make mistakes. But it gets harder when they become adults, when they become people we expect things from. And that's a little bit of like, my wife and I live, hey, no expectations.
Mm.
Get off the expectations. We're human. Don't expect me to be perfect. Don't expect me to love you well every time you love me well. Don't
Yeah,
expect
totally.
all these unspoken, especially unspoken expectations. So I just first off want to thank you, and maybe there's a quick secret you want to share, but how did you? I mean, I think you start with your wife and your children, but I know you do it with others. But you love deeply, you love daily. Yeah, I mean, you communicate that verbally and physically. I'm sure you communicate it in other ways as well. Yeah, I mean, but like, what was it in you that spurred you to do that?
Wow. I wanted to see something, and I wanted to be something that I knew that was inside of me. Like I've known, like I used to be a love bug when I was a kid, right? So it was always about hugs. It was always about presence. It was always about, yeah, I don't know. I've known um, that the desire of my heart was to show as best as I could, which literally changes every day. And some days, honestly, are so bad. I am so bad at this. It is so difficult because I want me, right? I want to do what I want to do. And it's like it when you love, the field changes, everything changes, the world changes, and it becomes much more open. And I need that kind of world, because the way my mind works too is very, like, it's pretty narrow. When I get on something, I drill down until I get to the bottom of it. And I think that's part of my personality. And when I found love, and when I found that it reacted well to that drilling down, was like, oh, good, oh, let's go, because I want to know everything about this. And again, I appreciate you calling me a love master, but it's really uncomfortable. And it's really challenging because, I want it to be my life's work.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want to be, I don't want to be known for love. I don't want books. I don't want people to cheer me on for that. What I want to do is I want my family and the people that I know to be changed because I was changed, because love is real.
Yeah.
And that's what I care about. That's everybody, being an entrepreneur and finding all of these things. People talk about legacy and they talk about what you want to leave and all of these things. Ryan, the one thing I want to leave, just one, is love.
Mm.
That's it. Like,
Wow. A legacy. You want to leave a legacy of love.
that's it.
And I got to be honest, I wonder what's more valuable. I mean, I definitely know a number of people who are leaving or who have left a legacy of what we would define as success, whether that be monetary or career,
Mhm.
uh,
Sure.
achievements, leaving this legacy. And I'm not saying those things are bad, man. Those things take hard work, perseverance. But if we miss love while doing those things, can that make them, you know, can that devalue them? I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably. Yeah, I mean, probably can devalue something good, something that can be great. Leaving the legacies of those successes. But if we forget love along the way, and I want to get a little practical here, Matt.
Okay.
So 2 or 3 years ago, I took an inventory of what was getting in the way of love for me. It was I had to convince everybody I was right.
Yeah. Oh.
If I disagreed with someone, I had to communicate it.
Mm.
If they shared their opinion, I had to share my opinion. I often had to have the last word.
Mhm.
I had to distance myself from anyone who radically disagreed with me so that they wouldn't infect me, quote unquote, with their radicalness.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking I really took an inventory, and we're just riffing here. I don't got any notes. We're just riffing, but I'm just pulling things. And so for some things I've committed to recently are like, I'm not required to disagree with you. I can just listen to you and not share my opinion.
Right.
You can be crazy different from me, and I can still find some commonality in our
Mm,
humanity.
mm, yeah. Wow.
You know? I mean, these are some of the things that are propelling me forward. I really liked the quote you said yesterday. I mean, earlier, just a couple minutes ago, you said loving someone is like something you really want to do. You're passionate about doing it, but it's crazy hard to do. And I'm telling you, there's some people in my life, some neighbors I have, some family members, some friends who like, it's like exhausting to love them. And I'm sure it's exhausting to love me. Hey, listen, I'm no better, nor am I no any worse. Yeah, I mean, like I'm human. I'm human, but I really am focused on this broad thing. And so maybe we can dive in. I don't know if you got any practicalities. There we go. Practicalities. That's a new word for practicality. But maybe we could dive into that idea that listen, like it doesn't matter right, left, conservative, liberal, Christian, Buddhist, Islam, whatever.
Yeah.
We're human. We have some humanity in us. We're all going to be jerks. We're all
Right.
going to get it wrong. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like we're all going to miss it. That broad stroke we were talking about earlier. How do you look beyond the stuff that separates, the stuff that makes it easy not to love, to retreat, to disconnect, to be a jerk to someone? You know, how do we look beyond that and practically and dive into someone's humanity? You got anything?
Well, it's interesting because the only thing that I can think of while you're saying that is that unfortunately, all of everything you just said is a really heavy thing. It feels really like what's, yeah, for me, forgive me, if for me it feels heavy because it's like, well, what are you thinking? What is it what can you do? What's the one thing? And honestly, honestly, getting past yourself, this might take me a second, but getting past yourself and realizing that that is a human that you're talking to, a person, right? There's a way to listen to somebody and love somebody and you're smug as hell. You're sitting there thinking on your throne, oh, this peasant. So it's really easy to look at yourself as elevated, as being above, and like you're being benevolent. That's this love that's like, oh, here's bread, present, peasant. Here, I'm giving you these things because I'm giving you my time because I'm loving. When in actuality, what love is realizing that person right in front of you is just like you, is just like you, which hopefully, and it doesn't work all the time. My gosh, am I bad at this? I am so bad at this sometimes because I have a very quick mind. I assess situations, judge them instantaneously. Wow, okay, that's this, that's this, that's this. Sometimes I'm right, but most of the time I'm a jerk because I do that because everything becomes linear and two-dimensional. But when that person becomes a person across from you, it doesn't become an idea or something to attack or something to fight or something to move through, then that person is worthy.
Yeah.
Because it's a person, because you're basically looking in the mirror. So, and granted, most of us treat ourselves really, really poorly. We
Yeah.
treat ourselves really, really
Well, there's
poorly.
something to talk about right there.
Yeah.
There's
But
right
but the secret, I don't even know if it's a secret, is exactly what I just said from Brigitte, which is, do you believe the best about me at the core? Because if you do, then we don't have a problem. We may have some things that we have to work through, but we don't have a problem because all of these other things are problems. They're hurdles, they're walls that go in front of us that say no, no more, can't move, can't go beyond, gotta fight, gotta break, gotta do all of these things, and they incite like this lizard brain reaction. And to disengage that lizard brain so I'm sitting across from somebody, I don't know, that I don't know, smells really bad, has dreads, has been, homeless for 50 years, who is trying to manipulate me. Okay. Real experience. And sitting there and looking at them going, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here with you. I don't trust you. I don't know what your intentions are, but I know what my intentions are. And I want to hear you in this moment because I can't remember. Who knows how long it's been since you had somebody who looks you in the eye and hears you.
Well, and let me jump on that right there.
Yeah.
Love can be situational. You're going to love people differently. I hope you're going to love your wife differently than you're going to love me. I'm actually going to ask you to love her differently in some ways than you're going to love me. But looking someone in the eye,
yeah,
asking them their name if you don't know it,
yeah,
listening to them. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Barb Lemon, wherever you are at in this wonderful universe, for being the first person in my life to tell me, Ryan, you got to listen better.
Woo!
Listen, like listening's got to be part of love.
Yeah.
You know, these things, I'm sure there's other broad stroke things that go into love. So some love is practical. You know, I'm gonna love some people differently based on the situation I'm in with them or based on my relationship with them. But there's definitely a big pot of love. Yeah, I mean, and I think this is somewhat of what I've seen deteriorating in our culture over the last couple of years is we're losing those simplistic, and they're not simplistic, that's the wrong word. We're losing those common ways to love one another, because some are really difficult, some are simple, some are difficult, but we're losing those common ways to love one another. And I wonder if it connects back to something that I jumped on a little earlier and said, ooh, when you were talking, is I wonder if we're losing our common abilities to love one another because we're losing our ability to love the person in the mirror.
Oh, come on.
You know, like I'll give a Jesus quote here, you know, that everything, all the religious laws, all the religious rituals, all the interpretations, applications, services, everything in all of the universe, the 4.78 billion times people have taken communion, all of that stuff falls down to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I've always looked at those verses. We talk, you know, at least in my church experience, we talked about loving God and loving our neighbor a lot and saying, remember, you got to love your, like you love yourself. Like it was assumed we loved ourselves. And I get it. Yes, we take care of ourselves. We feed ourselves. We do things we enjoy. So yes, we do innately love ourselves. But do we look in the mirror and love each other? You know, I got frustrated. I was watching a comedian last night, a movie by a comedian who I really felt like really was aware, and their comedy was very aware of cultural things. And yet then the movie included like, oh, I'm not attracted to you because you're not ripped. You know what I mean? Because your body's not ripped. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's just your fair assessment of saying what you're attracted to. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like our culture has so much trouble looking in the mirror and loving yourself if you're not Cosmo. You know what I mean? If you're not, can't remember the Men's Health. You know what I mean? I can't remember the magazine everyone looked at in high school, you know, at all the girls in high school. Can't remember the magazine. I really wish I could. Maxim. You know what I mean? Like if you can't get into Maxim, you know, I'm gonna have trouble loving myself. You know what I mean? We got all these things we need to put on ourselves to make ourselves feel better. And listen, there is definitely a defining line between what is sort of your personality and what you wear or put on yourself in terms of your personality and what you do to cover up that which you don't want people to see. You know, and I'm a big proponent of like, yes, we only live once. So please be committed to health because we've only got one life. Be committed to being healthy so you can be around to love the people that you love. But at the same time, like be free from these ideas that you have to fit into some chiseled out, you know.
Well, it's interesting because I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but you're saying something so incredibly important, which is when you're going after chiseled a lot of the time. Like I grew up in California, so my brother's friends were bodybuilders, right? A couple of them were real bodybuilders. They were shredded. And what I mean by real bodybuilders is that's what was inside of them, right? Yeah. They're like, yeah, I wanna do this. They were shredded, massive dudes. I'm talking big, thick, you know, whatever muscles everywhere that I can't even fathom because it was unreal. But a lot of people who are working out for that ideal. So there's hate, there's pain, there's maybe I'll be loved if.
Yeah. And we're not here to say if anyone who listens to this or whatever watches this or whatever, like I'm not here to decide who is and who isn't.
No way.
I
Yeah.
know I've struggled looking in the mirror and loving myself because of some of these things.
Yeah. I know I did.
Yeah.
Again.
And I'm trying to move a point, like, I'm just gonna, like, wait, I don't think I can love people, and I don't think I can love God, whoever God is to you. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can love the divine. I don't think I can love my neighbor if I'm not really loving myself really well. So I'm gonna fall in love myself, just who I am, buck naked. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, like, I'm gonna love this person, and that doesn't mean I might not commit to lose some weight. I might not commit to eating healthier. That doesn't negate these things. But like right now, today, please, anyone, if you're listening, to the 4.7 people who are going to listen to this, I mean, anybody, like, go look in the mirror, realize that you're human and that you're wonderful. Yes, you've got your faults. Yes, you can be a jerk sometimes. I mean? Yes, you've got some things to work on, but like, you're wonderful. You're incredible. I mean, you're beautiful. I love the phrase "beauty is in the eye of the beholder." I mean, it's a cultural phrase that's traveled the world because it's so good. I mean, what one person thinks is beautiful, another person doesn't. And I don't want to flip and say, oh, I hate all of that maxim stuff because it's not beautiful. Da, da, da. I don't know. Like you said, to some people, maybe they really, really desire to be a model, and that's the model agency. And I mean, if they can traverse that ground without killing themselves and being depressed and being owned by somebody else or owned by a system, more power to you. But be careful. Be careful. Make sure you can look in that mirror every day and be like, I'm doing the best to be who I want to be.
Yeah.
And I love this person. I love you. I love myself with all my faults, all the things I need to get better. Like, I love you. And that's, and so that's been helping me.
You know what's really interesting in all of that, because having grown up in Los Angeles, right, I had mirrors everywhere in my house, and I would look at myself and I'm like, you're not good enough. You're not this. You're not this. So it's interesting because what's triggering in me when you say look in the mirror and love yourself, I could never do that because nothing was right. So it's interesting, and that triggers in my mind the difference between lust and love. All right, so lust is the desire for something else, something different, and it's interesting because my mind goes to when I have often heard, and I still fight with this, what I've often heard that love yourself is an incredibly selfish thing that means you're going to have to I don't know, treat yourself poorly in order to get into a specific space so everyone else can love you. But what love yourself means to me, and then I would say honestly half the time, because this is a really, really difficult subject for me, is look at it and go, and it's funny because I think of old school Saturday Night Live. It's like, look in the mirror, you're okay. You're an okay guy. Everything's okay. You can be you. You don't have to be what anyone else thinks. You don't have to be what anyone else thinks you are. That includes, me to my children. You don't have to be what I think you're going to be, because that is insanity. You are who you are. Being you means to love yourself. You have loved yourself enough to be able to expose who you truly are. And that is a gorgeous thing. It might not be quote unquote maxim picture perfect. It might not be Men's Health, picture perfection. That's advertising. Love is looking at yourself going, okay, yep, faults. Yep, still gonna keep moving. Yep, everything's okay. Here I am, and I'm gonna keep going. It's giving yourself benefit.
A great, going back to another great Jesus saying. Jesus has some awesome sayings, but
great dude.
Love people that are just like you. What is that? Everyone does that.
Yeah.
Love those that are radically different than you. So I think we'll wrap up here and say, man, if you're on the left, pursue people on the right to love them.
Yes.
Human, they have beliefs like you, they have worries and fears like you, they work hard like you, they take vacation like you, they're scared and nervous and anxiety, and they also have great joys. And I know it might be difficult, but left to right, I mean, one faith to another faith, you know, one culture to another culture, young
Yeah.
to old, old to young, as much as you feel like someone's out of touch, you know,
Mhm.
go love someone. And my encouragement is put the phone down and go do it. I mean, I guess, you know, rock out, social media, rock out, love people. If you're rocking through the waves of social media, just love people, but also do it face to face. Tell
Yeah.
someone, get radical, imagine this, tell someone you love them. You know,
Yeah, there you go.
and I know you, again, I feel like I get this all from you, but I've been really trying to encourage people. I want people to love themselves. So I've been
Mhm.
really, I see random people and I'm like, yo, that hat rocks. Or like,
Yeah, totally.
yo, man, you really rode that wave. Like, I live in California, but I don't know all the words. You know what I mean? So sweet ride, man. And they're like, that's
Yeah,
not
bro.
how you say it, but I'm like, hey, awesome. I don't know what to say to you. I'm just trying to pull out. I mean, from your waiter or waitress to people that do anything, you know, calling people by their name. Let's end there.
Whoa,
If someone's got a name tag on,
life changer.
say their name.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
totally.
say their name. Hey, I hope if you listen to this, you can understand that we have no idea what we're talking about, because what the hell do we know? But I hope you can glean something that would help you love louder, that would help you love differently, and that would help you look in the mirror and love yourself ridiculously.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Ridiculous amount of love, ridiculous amount of love. And then you can take some of that overflowing ridiculous love, pour it onto your neighbors from next door to around the world, pour it out on people that are different than you. Love ridiculous. Hey, love master, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I feel like we could spend 6 hours on this subject, or 1,000.
Come back to it.
Okay, sounds great.